Alrighty, guys, welcome on in. It is Geographically Challenged episode number 75. I think it's 75. I hope it's 75. It's a special number because we've got Kay back, obviously, second time on Geographically Challenged, but first time on Geographically Challenged, it is Mr. Dobu. How are you doing, Dobu? It's great to have you here.
I'm good. Thank you for inviting such a podcast. I love to watch this, and find out where they talk about.
When we talk shit about you and Atox and yeah.
It's good.
Now you can talk some shit back. I think that's going to be the important thing. Kay, obviously back again in the last 12 months. I've learned how to say your name correctly.
Thank you.
So that's a good win.
How
as
did
far
you
as
say
I'm
it before? How did you
I think
say
I said key.
Key?
Yeah,
Okay.
back in the day.
That's what Mongolians say. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, is it? You
Yeah.
told me it was Kay. Anyway, look, it's been 12 months since we did an episode with you, Kay, and I feel like a lot has changed. Obviously, we're back at Extremesland again. Maybe we'll make this like an annual thing where we can do an episode every 12 months, once a year, catch back up with you and Mongolian CS. But for everyone watching, this is pretty much going to be an episode, I think, mostly about Mongolian CS. Obviously, we've got 2 Mongolian guests, so if that's what you're interested in, then you've come to the right place. Now, before we do get into that, I do have to give a quick shout out to Skin Club. They are now the sponsor of Geographically Challenged. We didn't have that last year, so we really love that. Thank you very much, of course, to Skin Club for helping us out. If you guys are interested, there is going to be a link in the description, a 7% deposit bonus. You can get yourself all sorted over there, unbox some cases, do some battles, do whatever it is you want to do. Maybe upgrade your skins. And all that jazz. It's fantastic stuff. And apparently they have got better odds on there than you do in-game opening the cases. So I reckon that's probably a pretty good shout. If you're interested in getting yourself some new skins, so check out Skin Club and head over to the description for that 7% deposit bonus, as long as you're over 18, of course. So let's get into the swing of things here, fellas. Again, touching on the 12-month gap since last time, Kay. Last year at this time, I don't think Mongolian CS was really on the map globally yet. We had the Mongolz, and we kind of knew the Mongolz were good at that point in time, but they hadn't really quite made that jump just yet. So it feels like we're kind of in a different world now, doesn't it?
Yeah. So when we did our last episode, it was actually right before playoffs, Extremesland playoffs, was it?
It was actually the first day of Extremesland, or the day before Extremesland.
So Mongols won that event, and then they just rolled from then.
Yes.
Right? They just won a couple LAN tournaments. First was Extremesland, and then we had Nomadic Masters in Mongolia. They won that. Yala Compass, you name it. We all have it, all the trophies in Mongolia. So things got just skyrocketed since then. It's really good. And then within the last 12 months, what I actually saw from the local community is that a lot of people actually came back to CS.
Right.
Some of them actually played 1.6 before, and then they left. They never just paid attention to the game, esport itself. And then when Mongolz just broke that record, and then they're just being so successful, it just attracted so many people. And then I'm getting a lot of questions hey, there's CS2, right? There's Counter-Strike 2. How do you play this game? We want to play this game. We see Mongolians doing really good. We want to try this out. So this has been happening a lot lately.
Is that the same for you, Dobu? Has that impacted you in your career in any way? Obviously, I know you're not on the Mongols, so it's not going to be to the same extent, but are there more people interested in you? Are you getting more fans maybe because more people are just generally interested in Mongolian Counter-Strike?
Yeah, I can feel that impact a lot. A lot of people coming to CS scene, and a lot of influencers also coming, and even it impacts us a lot.
What about the competition in Mongolia? Is it harder now? Are there more people trying to, I guess, compete?
About the competition, it's pretty much same, but right now the Mongols is tier 1 team. So I'm making joke about at least second Mongolian team needs to qualify major or something like that. So we're trying to catch up Mongols.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
So that's going to be, I guess, the goal for 2025, I guess, for not just you, but I would say Atox in general are, at least in my opinion, the second Mongolian team. And I'm sure for the most part, most people would agree with that. But I think alongside Atox and beyond within the Mongolian scene, the goal is let's try to get a second Mongolz, if that makes sense. So whether that is Atox, whether that is Huns, Chinggis Warriors, whoever it ends up being, try to get someone to a similar level, but with all of the changes to 2025 with the MRQ system, the VRS system, I don't know how easy it is necessarily going to be to do that. Is there any conversations happening in Mongolia specifically around, you know, what it looks like in 2025? Is there any concerns maybe? Because at least for me, coming from ANZ and I think just Asia generally, I'm quite interested to see what 2025 will look like now that Valve have put all of these changes through.
Mm-hmm. So I want to get back to Atox being like the second Mongolian best team, stuff like that. So when Mongols actually, I think it was this time of last year, maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, everyone in Mongolia would just look at ESL rankings, right? So if Mongols is doing good on the ESL ranking, they get invited to like a good tournaments, S-tier tournaments, right? And then from over there, they can just step up the game and then become a really good team from over there. What are you doing, Jordan?
I'm talking water. I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm locked in, bro.
Okay. So right now, exactly the same thing is happening with the Atox, I think, right? So they're just grinding up the ladder, right? Valve ranking, they want to get higher, and then they want to get invited to all these good tournaments. If they do, then they can step up the game and then become the next Mongol. I'm not like... I think they're really
pretty
close.
much understand that.
I mean, like everyone now, in my opinion, Mongols is a different animal right now.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So everyone else is on the same level. I mean, over here in Extremes Land, we don't really know who's going to win the tournament, right?
Right.
I mean, if Mongols came over here, I would say, okay, it's just obvious. Mongols will win the event. But then we don't have Mongols over here, and then we have Chinese teams, Mongolian teams, so we don't really know who's going to win the event. So I'm hoping that Atox will become a good team that I want them to be.
Yeah.
I was talking about it like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I want another good team from Mongolia. Like what do we have from Brazil, right?
Right.
We have like so many good teams. They're all just standing major tournaments, stuff like that. So I want Mongolia to become like that. Not just only a single team. Maybe we want to have 2, 3.
Do you think that's possible? Like, do you think the talent is there in Mongolia?
Yeah. The guy is sitting over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of new talent. I want to actually talk about that a little bit later on. Maybe as like the end of this, we can talk about some Mongolian talent that maybe a lot of people don't know outside of Mongolia. I'd love to get your guys' opinion on like who's someone that we should keep an eye on. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I mean, I guess the way that you're framing that, Kay, it seems a bit like, is there a stigma? Not a stigma, but is there something in you, Dobu, that's like you don't want to be compared to the Mongols in a way? It's like we don't want to be the next Mongols. We just want to be the next Mongolian team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes totally sense. But like for us, like for the like international people, like it's gonna be second Mongols is like good title, you know?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like for us, like we don't care like what title we do, as long as like we're doing good. Like we wanna be like play like as much is tournament and stuff, you know, like qualify to the major and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I've actually just had a look at the Valve ranking for Asia as of today. It's the 16th of January. This will probably be out in a couple of days. And I recall seeing Atox number 3, but what's funny is now Atox is actually number 4 because Liquid is in there. Liquid is number 2. It's Mongolz 1, Liquid 2, FlyQuest 3. Atox 4. Liquid technically has a slot in Asia if they want it, but I imagine they're not going to take it. But number 3 in Asia, according to the Valve ranking, is a pretty good place to be. Obviously, Rare Atom, beat you guys at XPL, so there's potentially an argument there that they may be in that slot. But I think still a pretty good shout for you guys. But I mean, what?
Are you talking about the Valve?
About the Valve
HL?
VRS ranking, the Valve ranking.
There's a mistake over there. I'm not really sure because I heard Extremes Land is unranked tournament, right? But then they're giving points.
They're giving points
on Valve.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna get.
That was the
later
same
on.
with XPL though. Apparently XPL was unranked, or maybe XPL was ranked.
So
I don't know.
From what I saw today, I think they deducted point already, like
From
us, like Rare Atom and stuff.
from this
Yeah.
event or from
I mean,
XPL.
they're from the previous event,
Right,
XPL.
from XPL.
Yeah, so maybe they already deducted that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Also, like 2025, the new point system is still new for us.
Yes.
Like, for example, like the Asia, there is like so little tournaments.
Mm.
The one of the big tournaments is like Extremesland, $100K, but they are not like giving points
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's kind of tricky for Asians to get points. Like as long as we don't qualify to the tier 1 tournament, it's gonna be
Yeah. That
hard.
kind of pisses
Yeah.
me off a little bit. Does it make you mad? Because like,
Yeah.
why is this event not ranked?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. This event should be ranked.
Maybe you should ask it from Extremesland. Sally.
Well, as far as I understand, they tried to contact Valve.
Maybe they did not meet the deadline.
Maybe.
They had some deadline, right?
Either way, I think it should be ranked, and I hope that there's going to be a few more ranked tournaments. Obviously, there'll be some stuff happening in Mongolia, and we've heard about this ACL, Asia Champions League. I'm sure you guys have heard about that one. That'll be in China at some point. That apparently is definitely Valve ranked.
All right.
The one that's organized by VSPO.
Yeah.
Hero something.
Yeah.
What was it? Hero something.
Hero Esports.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing as VSPO.
Okay.
I want to bring it back to Mongolian CS just in general. And again, obviously a lot of that is going to be tied to the Mongols. And then I'd like to bring it to Atox afterwards, and we can talk a little bit about how your team is looking. But just on Mongolian CS in general, I mean, what about the impact of things like Nomadic Masters and Mesa and what's the name of the other TO that we were talking about the other day? ESN. I feel like we're starting to see a lot of tournament organizers kind of pop up in Mongolia. So that's obviously helping quite a bit. And what about the impact of a Nomadic Masters type event? Because that's an international event in Mongolia. Does that kind of get people coming through, get people interested, get people keen? Or is it kind of like already... And is it more new people coming in because of events like that, or are they just for people that are like already interested? Does that make sense?
I think Nomadic Masters, it was a good event. It was a really good event.
I had fun.
Like international event, right? But then I don't really think it did impact like the Mongolz did for the community, right? So it was a good tournament, but then we didn't really like have that much of an audience during then. Maybe it was during the International Children's Day, right? The 1st of June.
Yep.
And then also the tournament venue was kind of a little bit far.
It was far.
Yeah.
I remember like
kinda
40
far,
minutes.
So people might had some problem going over there. So these kind of events keep all the teams like busy, I would say. And also these kind of events. Also Mesa, I want to give shout out to Mesa. I mean,
Of course.
they've been organizing a lot of tournaments. Right before New Year, they organized maybe like 2-3 tournaments. Those were all ranked, I think,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Was it like Mesa Pro League Series, something like that?
Asia Pro Series.
Yeah, they even invited
Rare
Rare
Adam was
Adam
there,
to
yep.
Mongolia. So these events actually boosted some number of points to Mongolian local teams. And then in 2025, we have some certain points already added into our pocket.
Right.
So that is actually benefiting us, I think.
Yeah, that's huge that you guys have that. I mean, we have some similar stuff in ANZ coming for 2025, but I think the more the better, obviously, especially from your perspective, Dobu. But when it comes to Mongolz specifically, I feel like they're a very unique team in what they've been able to do. There's only been so many teams that have kind of come out of nowhere in the history of Counter-Strike. And obviously what you're referring to with the Brazilian side of things, Kay, is a really, really good example of that. And I think I drew that analogy at one point as well, that kind of comparison. Obviously, what they've been able to do is something really, really special. But what do you actually think it is? And I mean, Dobu, you can answer this as well from the player's perspective. Like, what is it that actually makes Mongolz able to do what they've done? Because there's thousands of teams that would try to do that and come out of nowhere and walk away. But like, people say, oh, it's Blitz, he's a great IGL. And people say, oh, it's Maaraa, he's a really great coach. People say like, these guys are just super talented players. Is it all of those things? Or like, what is the X factor? What's the difference maker with Mongolz compared to, I don't know, like even like say a FlyQuest, for example. FlyQuest are good, but they're not like a top 10 team good.
So for me, it's like, I also like sometimes think about it. Especially like, first of all, of course, the Blitz and Maaraa is like good combo, a really great combo. Second of all, like, I think his timing is like everything is like perfectly, like, for example, it all starts from, I think, checkmate.
Right.
Yeah, like Maaraa and Blitz, Techno, they three were always there, but like after they took like 9 and Cabal from the renewal, they bring like what they're missing, and they bring a lot of experience from Tiger and Renewal, and they like at that moment I think the Blitz and Maaraa is like got what they're missing, like, and from that moment, like, have to say, like, they found it, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and
They found the X factor.
yeah, they found the X factor, and Blitz is like chess guy, also the techno, and Maaraa is like one of the like legend,
OGs, right?
yeah, OGs, like they had what they needed, and the timing was perfect, and after that there's like another, like, have to say, another timing, like Sinzo, MZ, and
Yep.
19, like they were getting ready at that.
They kind of got like
Yeah.
two sets of generational talents
Yeah, so-
in one like team, if that makes sense. But they got it at the right timing. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, it's true. Like, so we feel like have to say split two timings. Like, one is like Blitz Techno Maaraa got like the X Factor thing.
Yep.
And the other on the other hand, like the other three talents like preparing and like every timing is perfect for
Right.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to, like, the X factor you asked, right? I think I want to say similar stuff with Dobu. So for me, I actually talked about it during my show, Freeze Time,
Yep.
with my guy.
Check it out on YouTube.
Shout
Meta
out.
K.
Yeah. So for me, the X factor of a successful team is about a core, right?
Okay.
So we have 5 players, right? The core would be either 3 or 2. The Mongolian core would be Blitz, Techno, and then we can add Maaraa, 3 of them.
Yep.
If we look at all these like Mongolz iterations, right? They're always either changing 1 player, 2 player, maximum 3 players. But then Blitz and Techno, 2 of them stayed always together.
Right.
So this is the core foundation, right? So if you have really good foundation, who is Blitz and Techno, you can bring anyone on board.
And we did kind of see that, right? Like, there's been so many different versions of this team.
Yeah.
Even prior to when they were Mongolz, back when they were IHC, you talk about the Annihilation score, Cabal kind of roster, and then the Hastekers and the what have yous that came through, and eventually they've settled upon this roster. But they were always kind of like at least among the top in Asia.
Yeah. And I think the Maaraa is also like huge part, because like anyone they bring, it's like Maaraa is like teaching them. I don't know like how he teach, but he's teaching like so simple, and like anyone who joins Mongols
Just looks
they
better.
can play like in the system like
Yeah.
immediately. So it's gonna be like huge thing for Maaraa.
It's funny because from the outside, it does look like players that get put into Mongolz get elevated from something. We're not sure what it is, but like Score looked fucking awesome in that team. And then he went to like any other team. It's like, who is this guy? Annihilation. I mean, to be fair, he kind of looked good in your team. We can talk about that later. I'm sure you've got a lot to say. But I think there's been a lot of players that have gone into Mongolz that have looked great there and then left Mongolz and not looked great elsewhere, if that makes sense. So,
And also that's vice versa, right? If we talk about Senzo, he went to NKT, right? He did not really shine over there.
correct. Exactly.
He left the tournament and then he joined Mongolz and he did shine bright.
Yes. I wanted to ask you guys as well, what actually is Maaraa like as a person? Because I don't know if he speaks much English or any English, but I've never actually had a conversation with him. He always seems like a very stern guy. Like, he looks kind of grumpy, but then sometimes he's got like this shit-eating grin where he just like giggles about something. So I actually want to know, like, what is he like as a person? Is he as scary of a figure as he actually looks like, or is he actually nice?
I've never had like that much close of conversation with him. Never
Okay.
had it before.
He's a
with him
bit
until
like
now.
reserved.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dobu knows him well.
Yeah. I've been with him like 2 years, I think, at Mongols.
Mm.
Like, he's like super funny guy, I would
Okay.
say, like, and like easy to be with, like he don't have like any like have to say like hard thing,
Okay.
like as it looks.
He looks like a hard
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
But he's like pretty funny, and like I don't know, like he's just nice guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I guess that's why it works for Mongols. The only other like general Mongolian CS question I had, I don't know if you guys saw the comments that we made about Mongolian CS on one episode a long time ago. I sort of said, I think the biggest problem for the Mongolian scene beyond the Mongols is this constant changing of the rosters. And you see like Chinggis Warriors last year had this like awesome rise, and then all of a sudden the team just blows up. And then, Huns is doing changes and whatever else is happening, like even you guys, Atox, making a lot of changes, although there is that core aspect there. But I was very critical of the amount of changes, because I think there's a lot of good teams and good players coming together in Mongolia, but they're not actually giving themselves the best opportunity because of what reason? Why do they make the changes? So what do you guys have to say on that? Do you think, there's like a lot of ego in the Mongolian scene, or is it like a lack of leadership figures, or is it there's no orgs that are paying enough, or contracts, or like what's the reason for all of these changes? Because it seems like a lot of teams just rise and fall and rise and fall. Why do you think that is?
I don't really know the specific reason why people leave or just shuffle a lot within the team. But then thinking about the first Mongols who won the IEM Taipei 2016, right?
Right. Long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. And then since then, Mongolian CS became really popular, not just within Mongolia, also within Asia, Asian CS. And then suddenly, roster started to shuffle. Since then, Mongols became not that Mongols we knew back then. It just went down. We couldn't win the Japanese teams, absolute. We couldn't win the Korean teams, MVP PK. They just all became really stronger and stronger. So I think it's gonna go back to what I said before, the core, right? To at least 2 or 3 players staying together as long as they can. Maybe they can shuffle 1 player, 2 player. But then if you don't have that like really solid 2 players or 3 players, then team scrambles.
Okay, that kind of ties then into Atox pretty nicely, because you guys obviously have a pretty strong core. It's yourself, Cabal, MIQ, and your coach as well have been together for, I suppose, now it's been like 18 months maybe, potentially. So is that something that you guys are thinking about as well when you're thinking about roster changes or thinking about the team going forward? Is it like we want to keep this core? Is this kind of like a leadership circle, if that makes sense? Because you guys are all, at least you yourself and Cabal, have been around a long time. Is there like this conversation around like we're the core of the team and we need to like drive this forward together?
Yeah. So I think there's like a lot of factors there, like personal issues and everything. Like, but I think the most important thing for me is like we have to like manage in the organization first. Like, have to say like the Mongols is pretty stable organization now. Like they have their own system and everything. Like, and also they have great core. So for Atox, we were like struggling at the start, like because like it was like players organization.
Yep.
We never ran company before and everything, so we are struggling there. And right now, like we are trying to find it in this like have to say trying to learn and stuff, because like if you cannot like found like good system in the organization first, it's like hard to build team.
So are you guys running the org, or is there someone helping you?
There is one investor.
Okay.
And other than that, like me and the coach, Cabal, 3 of us running.
Okay.
So I have to say, my language is like...
You can say it in Mongolian, and maybe Kay can help you out if you want.
Maybe I will try to speak Mongolian. Okay.
I'll translate it later on.
Okay.
For me, just for me. Everyone else understands.
Одоо байгууллага амар чухал байгаа. Одоо жишээлбэл гадны олон улсын байгууллагуудыг харангуут олон жилийн туршлагатай яаж бага явахаа мэднэ. Тэднэрт одоо жишээлбэл одоо олон шат амжилтлаг байгаа гэх юм уу. Захирлан тэнтэйгээ харьцсан тэнтний баг нь одоо коучийн мэдлэл байдаг ч юм уу, эсвэл general manager-ийн мэдлэл байдаг ч юм уу. Ингээ яг харьцаа явуулдаг. Монгол болохоор хөвчлэн одоо тоглогчд айгу том байр суурьтай байдаг. Тэнгүүд одоо roster change ч юм уу, одоо тоглогч биендээ дургууллаа гэхэд тэнд шууд ингээ roster change орж ирж байдаг ч юм уу. Бусад улсын одоо байгууллагын хувьд яг ингээд аюу системтэй явж идэг. Тэнгүүд монголчууд эхлээд яг энэ өөртөө дотроо ингээд систем айгу зөв байгуулад дараа нь баг руу ороод тоглогчд руу ороод яг ингээ явбал бид нэр ингээд арай өөр төвшөнд илүү урт удаан хугацаанд амжилт үзүүлэх амар боломжтой болчихдог. Тэрнээс яг ингээд эхлээд тоглогчтой болоод тэгэл нэг баг бүрдүүлээл тэгэл нэг спонсортой болоод эн чинь бол ингээд урт хугацааны юм үүсч чадахгүй гэдэг.
Oh no.
This is just freestyle,
He's just
right?
taking over.
Okay, so he's basically talking about the team management as a business management, chain of command, those kind of things. So if we have like 5 players, then and all the power is given to maybe the captain, right? To a player. Then if someone doesn't like someone, he can just kick him out.
Yep.
But then if we look at the other teams like big orgs, Mongols, for example, they have this certain management team who runs the team. They have the power, right?
Right.
So they can make the decision, but then they will think what is good, what is bad, not from a player perspective, but as a org perspective. So basically it's management.
Right.
To have a good management, then you can build a good team. And also what I say, chain of command.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody has power, right? No
But
player has like big power.
Surely you, as one of the more experienced players, in some aspects don't want someone else dabbling in the team? Like, would it not be I mean, you'd have to really trust this person, this manager, if they're making decisions around your team, right?
Yeah. I
or
mean,
would it
like,
be better to have it like... Because the way I assume it works in Mongolz is Maaraa and Blitz and maybe Techno are like the ones that have a lot of like the control maybe over the team. Like they say a lot of like, we'd like this player, we maybe don't like this player, we'd like to make this change. And then there's somebody else in the organization that has conversations. But ultimately, I think that decision probably comes from most likely Maaraa and Blitz together.
Yeah. This is decision, of course, gonna be like Maaraa and Blitz two together. But what I mean is like until here, like the Mongolian teams, like most of the teams, they found the players first. Like players make team first and like join to the organization and stuff. So if they have like some issues, it's not good in the long run. Like, so that's what I'm trying to say. That's why like Mongolian CS is like Mongolian teams always like have to say shuffling and stuff.
Changing, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is we need to have like good management, good organizations first. After that, like we can have a long run good teams, you know, like
basically what you're saying is you in Mongolia need general managers. Because that's the term we would use in English, is like you'd have a general manager for the team. That would be someone that knows Counter-Strike, that knows the team, and you know it has a good relation with the players, but is like respected enough to make those decisions as well.
We need to have a good system first, because like 5 individual talented players, their timing gonna be like finished, you know, they can be retired. But like for example, there is like Navi and there's big organizations like they never fall. So they have like good management and stuff, right?
Yep.
So we need to figure it out that first, and at the same time, of course, like players grow like every day, you know.
Yep. All right, let's talk about some of the results that you've had. I think the most important one, obviously, being missing the RMR, missing the major most recently. That obviously caused quite a bit of change. I think at least part of the reason why the change happened within the team. But how, important obviously was missing that RMR for you guys? And, we can talk about GR Gaming. I know at least Annihilation made some statements about GR Gaming. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that as well. But I know you guys played, obviously, the previous RMR. You did quite well at that top 4 at the RMR, ultimately lost to FlyQuest, but that was quite a close game. Were they Greyhound at the time? They would have been Greyhound at the time. But pretty close game, pretty good result at the RMR. I thought Atox definitely making it to the next RMR. That was I thought East Asia slot, that's Atox's. Then you guys obviously end up losing to GR in that qualification match. So what kind of impact did that have on you guys as a team?
I think that qualifier impacts us a lot. Like, of course, like we are aiming for the major and our dream shattered there. Like our chance just finished there. So it's gonna impact a lot to the players and like team. So that's why also like Annihilation and like have to say we break down a little bit, After that, like it's hard to like find motivation again or something,
I think it was the closed qualifier you guys lost.
Yeah,
right?
we close
Yeah.
qualifier, and after that there is like ESL Pro League we go, and at that tournaments like we also our feeling was all down and everything was like not good because also like we suspicious about like GR. They're not playing clear and stuff, but we don't have any proof, like what can we do? So yeah, I think that qualifier really impacted us a lot.
If you would have qualified for the RMR, let's say you qualified for the RMR but didn't qualify for the major, do you think the team would have made the changes that happened?
I think Annihilation change will have to say like come eventually, like sooner or later. Yeah.
Was like that just down to a personal issue within the team?
Yeah, I think we are not clicking each other, and we had some fights, and like every now and then. So I think that change will definitely coming.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't necessarily intend to bring it up in this way, obviously, but that whole situation seemed crazy to me from the outside. Like, that's outrageous that someone would step out in the middle of a game. I don't think I've ever seen that in 10 years. I've been doing Counter-Strike for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen that. Obviously, I don't know what the atmosphere was like in the team. I don't know what was said behind closed doors. I don't know why he did what he did. I've heard his side of the story, but that indicated to me that there was a serious breakdown within the team in some way, shape, or form. So was it really that bad that someone had to walk out in the middle of a game?
I'm not sure about like walk out to the middle of the game. I think it's not at that moment. It's not that bad.
Right.
But overall, it's like our team chemistry was not good. I have to say it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that? Okay, like, were you surprised? Because I was fucking surprised.
I didn't really watch the game, but then actually someone sent me a clip of him walking out. But then nobody said, I mean, the commentator who was commentating that match did not really say any reason why he left.
Yeah.
He just said maybe Annihilation had personal issue or health issue, something like that.
That's the way you would handle it on a broadcast. That's how I would do it too. It's just a personal issue or something's happened.
I mean,
Don't
to
really
be
know.
honest, I didn't really have any background info on them. I thought everything was working out with them.
Right.
So it was them attending the RMR closed qualifier and then also EPL. They went to EPL. And then after they came back, it was like a month later tournament, right? You guys came back from EPL and then you had some break. Holiday, was it something like that? I don't know.
Then there was the ESL Challenger final LAN in China that you played with. Was it with Flynn and?
It was against LVG and
yeah.
Right.
With Noka also.
Yeah, it was like we knew this wasn't the team,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
you had to play with these guys because there was like roster locks and whatever. So it was like, okay, the team's kind of like falling apart, but like.
So I didn't really know anything. And then after he left, and then some like people were talking about, hey, what's going on? And then I ran back the tournament footage, the video, and then I see Annihilation buying only SSG every single round and running.
Yep.
Then I thought, okay, something is definitely wrong.
Yeah.
So,
His mental boomed somehow.
Then I was like, okay, maybe they're having internal issue. This is how he's just.
The thing is, like, it's really hard from the outside to look at that and like point a finger. Like, I could say, well, that's a fucking dumb thing from Annihilation to do. Like, I just don't think that's acceptable at all. But then again, Dobu might have been sitting there calling him a cunt the whole time. Like, there's a possibility, you know what I mean? And at which point it's like, well, some of the fault is on you. So, either way, like, it's not good how that played out.
Yeah, of course, like, there's not always be like one side. There's gonna be two sides. Like, there's always some right, some wrong things at the both parties. Yeah, yeah.
I know.
So,
And I don't think it's as big of a deal as like it doesn't need to keep getting brought up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the reason that I keep bringing it up is because, in my personal opinion, that was the strongest Atox I've seen. That Annihilation Yami Atox, from my perspective, was like the next best Mongols, the next best Mongolian team for me personally, in terms of like an individual talent / skill level. And I thought that was the next team that could push Mongolian CS to the next level. So that's why I was like disappointed to see that team breaking apart. And especially because, again, not having any personal relation to any of these players, just from a pure broadcast watching perspective, I think Annihilation is a very, very talented player, right? So I'm kind of sad to see him not competing anymore. And I don't know whether or not he's going to come back after that. I looked at that and I thought, that is not a player that I will pick up for my team. If I'm a manager, for example, like you talk about a general manager, right?
Yep.
That would not be a player that I would pick up. It doesn't matter how good he is, that player doesn't get a spot in my team. Some of the other guys on my show, Pilski said he would pick him up. He doesn't care. He'll take him. But I think it seriously hurts his career. And I think that's Mongolian CS is worse for that, unfortunately, in my opinion. But do you guys think there is a world where Annihilation comes back? I don't know if you've spoken to him at all, Kay. Do you think he comes back?
I hope he does, to be honest. He's quite young.
Yeah.
I think he's like, what, 24 or something?
yeah, 24.
24. So he still has like a lot of years ahead of him. And he's, like you said, he's a good talent.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I mean, in the server, outside the server, for me personally, I think, right?
Yeah.
So when he played against Vitality on
Yeah, he was
ECL,
farming.
he was just really good. And then everyone was talking about, oh, damn, this is the prime Annihilation that we want, right? So I really hope he comes back. Maybe he could have given like a statement.
That's what I told him to do. He messaged me on Instagram and told me his side of the story after we talked about it on the show. And I said, man, I think you need to make a statement. Like, I think you can't just like walk out of a game and not say anything. But he chose to just disappear. That's fine.
I'm not really sure what he is doing right now. I haven't really contacted him lately, so I don't know.
Yeah. Very sad. But the other change that you guys made, Yami, I don't know if you guys made that change. Actually, I want to clarify that. Did Yami choose to go to IHC or was he removed from Atox?
That was when I was in Alter Ego.
Yep.
Aramar. Yami like messaged to me like he wanna quit the team for IHC and stuff. So I was not aware of like any of that things. So I was just like, at that moment, I also like, there is like possibility I stay Alter Ego as well.
I'm be honest. I don't know if you watched what we were saying about that.
I didn't know.
We were like very confused at the time about so just from the outside, Atox missed the RMR, Annihilation quits mid-game, you're playing on Alter Ego, and the team's playing at ECL Challenger with like half a team. Yami's left. It's like, is Atox fucking dead? That's what we thought. We were like, is Atox just dead? So I was like, this fucking sucks, man. Like, this was the team. Yeah. This was the team. And then now it's broken. Obviously, you guys are still a team, which is good. But what was your reaction, obviously, to all of that happening?
So, like, as I said before, it all starts from the East Asian close qualifier RMR. We lost the GR and, like, we had some, like, fights and stuff. And our team chemistry was really bad. So I was like, I want to go, like to somewhere, I have to say.
You're like, maybe this isn't
stay
it.
there,
Yeah,
like,
maybe this is
like
not right.
I think all of us, like at that moment, we lost all the hopes, like at the team. So Annihilation left, and I had the offer from the Alter Ego, like substitute for, who was it? West of Ama.
Yep.
Yeah. So I took the chance because at that moment our team chemistry and everything was so bad.
So there was a world where maybe you didn't go back to Atox.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because like, I have to say it was.
It was bad.
Yeah, like there is some moments like team. I think I had that dinner.
Yeah, but look, Alter Ego obviously didn't manage to make it to the major either. So
yeah,
I think that probably was a heavy influence on why you went back to Atox. But now you're back in Atox, or it's like you never left. It's like you never left, man.
It's like never left.
Talking about Yami, right?
Mm.
I was watching the game on Extremes Land over here, and then I watched
Right.
Yami give an interview,
Right.
like during the game. Before the game, they were playing a video, and then Yami was talking about in IHC he has this freedom to become a captain.
He said something like he's the leadership figure or something in
Yeah.
the team, and I thought that's interesting because
He
he's
wanted that
pretty
when
young.
he was in Atox, but then we have Dobu and Cabal who are veterans over there.
Right.
So he's seen as a rookie, somewhat rookie, right?
And I
But
would
then
assume
yeah.
Annihilation also is quite a vocal person.
Oh, he's not that vocal.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So never mind. Continue.
Yeah. So Yami wanted a leadership role.
Right,
So IHC
gave
maybe
him that.
Gave that to him.
Mm.
Maybe.
What do you think about that, Dobu? Is he leadership role ready?
I'm
Is he
not
old
sure,
enough?
Like,
Is he mature enough? Is he experienced enough?
I
What's your
don't
take?
think like he is ready to be, like leader because he's too young, like 19 years old. But of course, he has like some experience, but still, like I think it's not quite ready. And I don't think he also left for IHC for leadership.
Right.
I also don't think that, but I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out. Do you think it was a good move for him, career-wise? Would he be better off on Atox?
I think Yami joins IHC is good move for him because like we also like not clicking
Okay.
with the Annihilation, with the Yami and everything. So we go back to the original Atox. So right now we don't have any drama and stuff. We just focus in CS. Before there is like a lot of dramas. Like we couldn't focus CS. So right now it's like peaceful. Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I mean, what are Zesta and Accuracy like as players? Because I've always sort of seen them as good players, but not like the kind of superstar players that are going to elevate a team to the next level. But obviously, you guys have a lot of faith in them to bring them back. And what do you think of them?
So previous Atox roster, reason why we changed to the like Annihilation Yami is like at that time Zesta had like I have to say he was missing something, and he couldn't understand if he don't leave. After he leave, he got what he needed, and that's why we bring him back. About the accuracy, he's the like always the leadership roles at the other teams. We also at the time wanted that leadership like vocal person, but he also not clicking at the time. Like he was not like open to us, and I don't know like what happened to him. We always tell him like, hey, open up, man. Like when you play like normal park games, you talk like this. We need that you. And at the time he also like closed off. That's why we choose to not continue with him. And reason why we bring them back is like they got what they needed, and we understand each other, like what we want and what they want and stuff. So I think it's right now it's perfect.
It's like you have a relationship.
Yeah.
There's some problems, and then you
Yeah.
go your separate ways, and 6 months later you're like, oh, actually, I kind of miss you.
Yeah.
So this is what I was actually talking with Cabal.
Okay.
I think it was like a month ago. He came to my office, and then we had this exact same conversation. And then when they were together for the first time, they were actually asking like a lot of stuff from like Zesta and Accuracy. Hey, like what Dobu said, right? Hey, open up, man. Talk more. You want to be like open to us, things like that. And then Cabal and Dobu would just try to guide them. Hey, in this situation, you want to do this, right? Play like this. You have this information, give it to us, and then or maybe just react on this information. Do your own gameplay, things like that. And then they didn't really do that during that time. But then when they left to IHC, they became that player who they wanted
Right.
Yep.
over at the IHC.
Okay.
So they wanted to bring them back because you are like what we wanted.
They
before.
learned some
Yeah.
more skills and
Yeah.
came back to be more well-rounded players. So obviously now Atox is as it is, and I wanted to talk about MIQ as well. Or is it Mick or MIQ? What do you guys say?
MIQ.
I always say MIQ. Yeah, I think that makes sense. MIQ, again, I think he's the kind of player that sort of flies under the radar a little bit. Like, especially in the previous Atox, like you have big names. You have Cabal, you have Dobu, like you guys have been around forever. I would say legends of the Mongolian scene at least. And then Annihilation's a big figure in terms of what he provides in the server, and Yami's like, oh, this up and comer. Everyone's like, he's super awesome and whatever. And then there's MIQ, and like I don't mean that like in a bad way, you know what I mean? But it's like he just kind of got overshadowed in terms of stories, if that makes sense. So, what is he like as a person, as a player in the team, and what does he provide for you guys?
I think he provide us a lot. Like he offer us a lot. Like I have to say, he can be like any player. I have to say,
he's very
he can be
adaptable.
Anchor, yeah, adaptable, and he has like good personality to work with the teammates and stuff. And I don't know, like he's the perfect,
He's just everywhere, everything,
like
anything you want.
Right now he's upping and stuff, like he was anchor at one point, and like he's like good soldier, but right now he's shining and his time to shine.
Okay, is he better than we give him credit for? Do you think?
Yeah, sure, for sure, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
We need to talk about MIQ more.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's talk about Atox just in where it sits at the moment. How do you guys feel in the ladder of Asia? Okay, so let's say Mongolz is 1. There's no debate. I think FlyQuest is 2. Probably no debate, in my opinion.
Yep.
Don't know what you guys think. Where do you sit after that? Because in my opinion, I would probably have Rare Atom 3, just because I think they've had a better run of time than you guys lately. Atox 4? Is that where you feel you sit, or?
I don't know, it's like kind of tricky right now at the moment.
Tyloo?
There's also Tyloo and
Lynn
Lynn
Vision.
Vision. Lynn Vision is also strong. And we also strong, and Chinggis Warriors, IHC is also like performing. So it's kind of tricky at the moment, like who's the number 3, 4, I think these tournaments like tell us a lot. Like, yeah.
Let's wait for the results.
Oh, that's a cop-out. That's so easy. You just had XPL. They came second in XPL.
I mean, for me, I think Atox would be like the second best Mongolian team right now. So if you rank Mongolz and then you placed FlyQuest on second, okay. So FlyQuest, and then I would say maybe like third is Atox. For me,
Okay.
I think. I mean, when they brought back Accuracy and Zesta, I was like, okay, this is the team we want, right? So Accuracy and Zesta, they went to IHC, and then 3 of the players who are playing for Chinggis Warriors right now, they were with IHC
formerly.
5 of them, and they actually did really good at some point. IHC, like I see ECL Challenger leagues, they're playing really good. And then I was talking about it before. These guys, they don't really have superstar in IHC. They're all just like really quiet guys, but they do what they do really good. Maybe this is the reason why they are being so good. No person to look up to. Like everyone is equal, right? So maybe this is the key factor that they're being successful. So Accuracy Zesta coming back to Atox, we have 2 veterans and then 1 family guy, right?
Okay.
MIQ.
The guy. He can do anything.
When you said like
Mr. Everything.
And then there's MIQ.
Yeah.
Have you seen that family guy? Like
No.
there's like Superman, Aquaman, and then Meg. Something like that.
Yeah.
So it sounded kind of similar. So I think this version of Atox is really good at the moment. And I'm really like hoping a lot from them, to be honest.
So much pressure.
Too much pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you don't make top 2 at Extremes Land, fucking hell, blow the team up. That's what I reckon.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. All right. What about the rest of Mongolia? Like we're talking about IHC, obviously, there at this event. Chinggis Warriors as well. I think Chinggis Warriors actually, I would say, kind of have struggled a little bit so far. I thought I might see a stronger Chinggis Warriors than what we've gotten. But what's the rest of the scene looking like? Because I felt like in 2024, it was like, oh, actually, there's a lot of teams that are really exciting. But now everyone's like shuffled around again. How do you guys feel about Mongolia going into 2025? These teams that are coming through, IHC, Chinggis. There's a
Oh,
new
there's
eruption
Eruption,
team as
yeah.
well.
That team's scary, bro.
Yeah, you scared of them?
So
Yeah.
apart from Mongols and Atox, I think rest of the teams are kind of like in a shaky position.
Yep.
I think they don't really have like solid starting five. They don't really have solid team. Maybe who knows? Genghis Warriors or IHC will just shuffle again. Maybe after this tournament, I don't really know. This happens a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you finish one tournament, you change one player. If you're not doing good, you change one player after tournament after tournament. We see that a lot. So I think it's too early to say who is like how the other teams are doing in Mongolia. But then we have teams, we have the names. But then I can't really say, okay, this is the team.
Yeah. Still have to wait and see.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like a mixed players.
Mm. Any thoughts on the Chinese teams, the changes that have been going on, especially with Tyloo and Lynn Vision? Are you looking at either of them as a very serious threat at the moment, or are they, still kind of like not a concern because they haven't? I don't think either of them have properly locked in a 5 yet.
Yeah, I think for me, Tyloo is looks like little bit, have to say, weak right now because they lost Starry, and in the other hand, like Lynn Vision looks strong because that Starry is like good firepower for them, and they have pretty good core.
Zaka's going crazy at the moment.
Zaka's form is pretty good nowadays. He's not, have to say, he's consistently good, and at the same time, that Suki guy's aim is so good.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lynn Vision is scary. And about the Tyloo, I'm not sure because I heard that Jamyong is going to the Valorant and stuff.
He was, and now apparently he's coming back.
Yeah, and he lost the study,
Yeah.
So about the Tyloo, I'm not sure about, but Lynn Vision definitely looks strong.
All right. Generally, then, or more generally, going into 2025, I don't know how much you guys have sort of looked into this, like MRQ system. You know what I mean when I say MRQ, with the new RMR type situation. 32 team major, and it's 5 slots for Asia, so that's pretty cool. However, when you look a little bit deeper into it, one of the rules basically said something along the lines of where there's a ping issue, the slots will be allocated regionally.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have had a conversation about that in Mongolia, but we talked about that on Geographically Challenged a couple of episodes ago, and we were like, how does this work? Because we don't have a LAN anymore, right? There's no RMR where the Mongolian teams, the Chinese teams, the Aussie teams, the Middle Eastern teams all play together, and then it's like the best team goes. Now it's kind of like, are they going to give slots to each separate region? So if, for example, East Asia, instead of you playing GR for a slot at the RMR, it's like now you're playing for a slot at the major. Does that kind of concern you guys somewhat? Have you thought about that?
The MRQ system, I heard when I first read about the Valve news on HLTV, it said it's online, right?
Yes.
But then I had this conversation on Freeze Time, and then my guy actually said it can be either online or LAN.
It can be LAN,
event, yeah.
but do you think a TO is going to pay for that if they don't have to?
They should.
They should.
Being online it has like so many problems.
But I don't know that they will.
I mean, and then also like giving specific slots to specific region, maybe Southeast Asia, East Asia, I don't think that's a good idea.
I agree.
The whole Asia should have 5 slots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then MRQ, we have 8 teams.
Yep.
That should be a LAN tournament.
I agree.
8 teams, 5 of them qualify. No, 4 of them qualify.
Plus Mongols
to
get the
major.
invite.
Mongols
Yep.
will step up to the stage
Yep.
3. So we want that. No online stage. Nothing funny. We don't really want any suspicious games, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope that I don't really know who's gonna organize the MRQ.
Well, it's a Blast major next.
Austin Major, yeah.
So presumably it's Blast that has to organize it, which is why
Works with Blast from Asia.
ESN.
ESN.
That's why. Yes, that's why I was asking you about ESN a little bit earlier in the week.
I don't think they're gonna organize MRQ. I don't think so.
Because ESN's running a Blast qualifier later in the year.
5e works close with Blast, so maybe 5e.
Somewhere in China.
Yeah. So I really hope they organize LAN event, 8-team LAN event.
If they don't, then
GG.
yeah, GG. I mean, I think the way it will work is there'll probably be an OS slot, an East Asia slot, but I don't know if that'll be then East Asia includes China, or if like, do you know what I mean? Like, are they going to give a slot to China?
I think
If there's only 4 slots, you have to have all of Asia, right? There's Southeast Asia, Oceania, East Asia, Middle East / Africa. That would be the slot distribution, I think. In which case, Mongolia is playing China for 1 slot, which seems kind of whack.
Yeah, I know.
And Southeast Asia getting 1 slot is
Exactly, but
Yeah.
how else do you know what I mean? With the
Yeah.
ping.
That's why we need to bring all the teams. I
The-
think if anyone asks, maybe like Valve or even Blast from Austin Major, right? They reach out to any tournament organizer in Asia and ask them if they want to organize this tournament. Maybe they can bring their own sponsors in terms of financial. Then any tournament organizer would be willing to do that. I think.
I would hope so. I was thinking like maybe Mesa, like they are, as far as I've heard, are planning to run a Nomadic Masters at some point.
Yeah.
If that could, instead of being an international tournament, just be essentially the Asia RMR. Like run that in May, because the major's in June. Run it in like April, May sometime.
yeah.
They've already done it. Like they've basically run it. It can be an 8-team tournament. We saw that already for Nomadic Masters. You can have 8 teams. You can have it on land. They've proven that they can do it. It was a little bit scuffed at times, but it was pretty good. That would be my dream. And we know that there's a tie-in between Blast and Mesa in the past. I don't know if, that relationship is still there. I don't believe that it is, but assuming obviously with Blast having this relationship with the ESN, but that would be what I would like to see. I just don't know if that's going to end up happening. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But VRS system, I mean, it's actually looking kind of good for you guys on Atox right now. You're sitting pretty happy. So I guess just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
ESL Challenger League will be ranked. You guys normally do pretty well in that. So you must be feeling pretty all right about 2025.
Yeah, but it's still for us. We still don't have like enough information. Like how we can invite to the tournaments and stuff. Yeah, so I hope the more infos will come out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same for everyone.
I think making the ESL Challenger ranked is very good change.
Has to
in
be,
my
right?
opinion.
Yeah.
So when we had this, the previous seasons were like you have this round robin best of 2 matches taking place every week. Some of the teams do not really care about it. Once they qualify for the playoffs, then it's like, hey,
we can lose.
we're already in the playoffs. Why should we play? They're not really serious, right? But then right now it's ranked tournament, so every single game is special, is important.
Should make it best of 3 though, but can't have everything. Okay, well, we'll get to the end now. We're roughly almost at an hour or so, so I think that's probably a good time to start slowing things down. But I remember I said I want to talk about some unknown talent in Mongolia or some names, or this is just your opportunity to kind of like give a shout out to someone that you think is like a good player that we should maybe keep an eye on in 2024 or 2025. It's 2025 now. Because last year, I think probably the conversation was Yami. Everyone was talking about Yami back around this time last year. I was pretty keen on that Stardust kid when I saw him at Nomadic Masters. He seems to have just disappeared, so unfortunate. But is there anyone else like that going into 2025 that you'd like to give a shout out to?
I think as I said before, like Eruption looks scary, so they had
Who's that? Who is on Eruption?
Eruption is like 40, Scar, Magnums, and Side Effect, Zenization.
Okay, I don't know who that the 4th guy is.
Yeah, so Side Effect and Zenization is new guys from the ESN Gold Division. Like we have some faces
Basic.
back. So and they looks pretty good, like game-wise and play-wise. So yeah.
Okay, keep an eye on Eruption.
Yeah.
That's Dobu's tip. What about you, Kay? You agree?
I don't have anyone in mind.
Okay.
To be honest, I haven't been casting local games lately, so.
Too good for Mongolia now. He got famous,
Nah.
went to the major. Yeah.
All the tier
Fuck,
1.
a lot of changes in 12 months, man. You used to know everything. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Kay? We had a lot of back and forth about Mongolian history, I thought, last year, but we don't really need to do that again because now it's all already there. So is there anything else that maybe you think I've missed?
Like,
Just as a topic.
maybe right now, the Mongolian esport is in a really good place, I think. So many companies, so many brands, they're all just contacting us. even the Mongols, even the teams, I would assume, they want to work with, like, within esport. They want to support esport. When Mongols became top 8, they reached the playoff stage. We had so many, like, news articles.
Yeah. Here's a question, okay? Because I remember you telling me last year that the original Mongols really inspired a lot of the current players to be CS players. Do you think current day Mongols now have kind of eclipsed that? Like they've gone above that original Mongols?
Definitely. I see so many, like, I receive so many questions either from kids who are 13, 12. They want to become the next Blitz, next Techno. How they want to do that. They ask me, like, hey, bro, tell me, how do I become a pro player? That's a question I get asked so many times. I assume Dobu gets that question a lot.
Like 25 years old guy comes to asks to me like, I want to start pro, bro. And I ask his age, like he says 25, and are you serious?
You're like, you're too late, bro. You need to start when you're
Bro,
15.
it's too late.
Yeah,
But,
so it's getting a lot of attention. Even Mongolian government is actually supporting esports now. They want to run tournaments. I'm not really sure if you've seen this or not. The Mongolian government is actually working with Mesa to organize Dota 2 tournament.
Right.
So they want to support this. Even like all these influencers, all these like political person, like they're just trying to say good things about esports now.
Yeah.
Before they said only bad things about us. Hey, this gives you like, I don't know, you become crazy.
Violent or whatever. Yeah.
This is a video game. Don't really play it. Something like that. But now it's just on the other side of the table, right? They're saying good things about.
Okay, here's a random non-related question for you, Dobu. You've obviously spent a lot of your career in international teams. Like you started in like 5-Power, if I remember, right? Which was Chinese players and like Thai players and stuff like that. You know, you have pretty good English and you know, playing NKT and stuff. Great English, man. But my question is do you prefer being in a Mongolian team or did you not mind the international teams? Like what if you could choose at this point in your career? Obviously you are in a Mongolian team now, but you prefer Mongolian team?
Yeah, I think for me like international team suits me more. Like,
right.
I would say like
interesting.
Why is that?
I don't know, like
Because you speak English.
First of all, my English is not so great, but like the environment there, you know, like the how people work and you know, everything, like I think suits me more. But for me, I want to continue the Atox. Yeah.
I mean, I know you have a pretty special sort of friendship with Zion.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, what was it about Zion that you gotten along with so well?
I think it's like he's so nice person, you know. He's like so kind person. That's why I love him. You know, like he's like one of my best friend. I would say. So also that's why I accepted the alter ego offer because it was Zion's like last chance to qualify major. Yeah. So I wanted to help him, but you know, like yeah.
But there must be something about playing in a Mongolian team and having the support of all the Mongolians and having it be like an identity. Is there anything there?
Yeah, it's Mongolian team is also great. You know, like I have to say, back then when I was in Mongols, I feel so proud. You know, like when I play. Also, like I wanna mention that you guys talking about the Mongols is. There's a lot of people after the Mongols won I am Taipei. I was also the person who starts playing, like decided to play professionally. So I know there is a lot of people also started to like play because of the current era of Mongols. Yeah, so I think the playing the international team is like feels more, you know, like I have to say proudly, you know, like
right.
Yeah, it more feels more right, I have to say. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think things are quite changing. When I actually asked the exact same question from Aircast or Dobu before, Dobu and Cabal were playing for 5-Power. Aircast was playing for Greyhound. And then they formed the team together. I asked this question, hey, what's so good about being a Mongolian team? one of the things that they all said in common was communication.
Mm.
Being able to freely speak during a game without thinking about like,
I have a funny story about Urkas. I was told by some of the team, the Greyhound guys, that like in a high pressure situation, sometimes he would just start coming in Mongolian. No one would know what the fuck he was saying. Just like because that's where your brain like defaults back to it.
yeah. So that's what Erkas told me. He just want to speak Mongolian like freely.
Yeah. Back then it was started like that, but now mine's is changing, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, let's wrap it up there. Last question for you, Dobu. Do we see Atox stickers this year? Dobu stickers.
I really think we can do it this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, appreciate having you on. It's been great to have your time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you as well, Kay.
Sorry for bad English, guys. My brain, I don't know why it's like lagging. You know?
I can try some Mongolian.
When we talked about Zine, right? I actually did chat with Zine recently, and then I think guy has really good. He has passion on CS.
Yeah.
He want to become like really good IGL. He want to play the game, everything. So during Extremes Land last year, Zine actually came to me. I was sitting with the Mongolz boys, right? And then he comes to me and then he says, "Hey, K bro, come out." And then I come out and then he asks me a question. "Hey, could you please ask from Maaraa how he handles all these young players? He seems to like control them all."
Yeah.
Whenever I see a new player come in and then they're all really good listeners under Maaraa, could you please ask from Maaraa how he does that?
It's probably because of Senzu. He used to play with Senzu, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Senzu had some problems in NKT, we'll
And
say.
then Zion was like, whenever I have young players, whenever I have new players, I always have problem with them.
Yeah.
They never listen to me.
Yeah.
But then Maaraa does this really good. Could you please tell me the secret? And then I'm like, okay, I'll ask.
Yeah, and what did he say?
I didn't ask.
Oh,
He left.
okay. All right. Well, that's that. Anyone want any shout outs you want to give, Dobu? Okay.
No.
Shout out to the Mongolian community. There's a bunch of Mongolians watching this. You can say something in Mongolian if you want. Bakhla.
I talk all the time, so maybe Dobu.
I also
Dobu.
stream like 3x like week, you know. So
Yeah, but not on my podcast.
okay, guys. I will say in Mongolian, okay.
Okay.
Аз гой подкаст хийж байгаа. Freeze time-аас өөр гэвэл Geographically Challenged гэдэг энэ подкаст байгаа. Тэгэхээр энэ үнийг гой бөөнөрөө дэмжиж лайкатаараа, subscribe-аараа гой дэмжиж өгөхөд илүү олон гой ингээд Азийн CS-ийн талаар гой юмнууд оруулж байгаа угаасаа. Тэгэхээр илүү гой дэмжиж өгцгөө бөөнөрөө.
Here's the translation.
Okay.
Stop watching Geographically Challenged. Subscribe to Freeze Time. Fuck this guy from Australia. He keeps talking shit about Mongolian CS.
I mean, people are actually quite interested in whenever some international like person talks about Mongolia, right? And then also, what's interesting to Mongolians is me and Dobu speaking in English and then joining like international podcasts. So this might be interesting for the audience.
Yeah, I hope
we
so.
talk about like same stuff all the time in Mongolian language, right? But then your questions are kind of different from a different perspective. And then so this makes it interesting.
Do you think we have different opinions? Like, or do we generally tend to agree?
I never say bad things directly about Mongolian teams or Mongolian players. You guys do that all the time.
No, we
so-
don't. No, we
do,
don't.
you
We
do.
don't. No, we don't. We just
I mean,
we
some
just
of the-
clickbait better.
Some of the questions you just asked from Dobu, I
Yeah?
would never ask such questions.
Why?
Because I know it's gonna be hard for him to answer. But then
Yeah.
you ask it, and then he answers.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
It's good,
Win-win.
good.
That's where you get the content,
That's why
man.
we
Yeah.
hear it.
That's what people want to watch. Yeah. You know what, by the way, when you answered that question in Mongolian, I was like, fuck, I've never seen Dobu speak this much. Because obviously you speak in English, you're very like, oh, I can say a little bit, and then that's it. But then you're like, it's like, bro, I didn't know this guy could talk that much. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get to do another one next year. And shout out to everyone watching as well. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, buymeacoffee.com/Elfishguy. Check out Skin Club as well and support Atox on their journey to the major. And of course, here at Extremes Land as well. Check out K on YouTube, MetaK. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace.
Hey guys, just at the end of that video and heading into 2025, I want to give a massive shout out to Jean, who has been a big supporter of mine on buymeacoffee.com/Elfishguy. She's been a member for over 12 months. And if you'd be interested in supporting my content and getting this content grind going, then head over there as well and check it out. Thank you very much.